Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio on this festive Boxing Day. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio by Ray Ora.
Oh, yeah. What's up, boxiers? Boxies? Boxers?
Jonathan Voico is here.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics that we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or topic that you'd like us to address, go ahead and send it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip, and we'll just get around to answering it at the second part of the show, provided we deem that the question or topic you send in is appropriate for us to address on the show. Also, by the way, don't forget, guys, that this tip link is good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you happen to be listening to our podcast feed in audio version, either on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, by the way, make sure you go and subscribe to the podcast feed, because even if you don't need it right now, you might need it someday when you don't have a chance to be in front of a YouTube video. Or if you're watching this show a little bit later on in the day on YouTube when we're not live, go ahead and use that tip link to send in any topic or question you have, and we'll just get around to answering it on our next episode. All right, had a great Christmas.
Yep.
Hope you guys got to have a great Christmas. We spent it with family, which was always good and fun. Ann and I also went to go see Nosferatu on Christmas Eve. Not a traditional,
Lighthearted film. To be fair, I went and saw Iron Claw last Christmas Day.
Yeah, also not a traditional Christmas film. Gotta tell you, not gonna do a full review of it. I was disappointed in Nosferatu. I was. I'm a major Robert Eggers fan. Like, I have at least been fascinated with every single one of his films. I loved The Witch. I know not every horror fan did.
Sure.
I loved that movie. The Northman was fantastic. I love The Northman.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hell The Lighthouse was, but I was engrossed in it.
I love their accents.
I still have no idea what that movie was, but I was totally engrossed in it every step of the way. But yeah, I gotta say, I walked out of Anne hated it. She hated it. And I got to admit, I walked out disappointed. I thought there were certain things about it that were really quite good.
Yeah.
But it's also peppered with some horribly cheesy scenes. Like, horribly cheesy scenes. Like, I won't give context so as to not like spoil what sets it up. But like, there's this one prolonged scene between Lily Rose Depp, who was miscast in this movie, and Lex Luthor there.
Nicholas Hoult.
Nicholas Hoult. There's this really long scene with this really cheesy dialogue for them, and they end up banging. And as they're banging, she says, "Yes, bang me so he can see it." Yeah. And I'm like, this is so painful. It's just, but again, there's also moments like Skarsgård as Count Orlok, Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Super creepy, like in all the best ways possible. Really, really creepy. Although it's a shame he doesn't know how to tell time. For those of you who have seen Nosferatu, you'll know what I'm talking about. But one of the biggest disappointments to me is it wasn't scary.
Oh, wow.
Like it had that great, rich Robert Eggers atmosphere. Like it had all the atmosphere.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. And by the way, he tried to make it look like 18th century Germany. I couldn't believe it. Like it all felt so authentic. It felt like you were in an 18th century German city. Like every detail from the costuming, even his color palette for the movie. Like there's a lot of things that were really quite good about it. Just at the end of the day, I was really disappointed. And the culmination, the climax of the film, for those of you who've seen the movie, was so dumb. It was just dumb. Like, wait a minute, you telling me, what we're saying here is that Nosferatu's most loyal little lackey henchman This happens to have a book with full illustrated details of how to kill Nosferatu.
Well, he's like Batman. He's got to know, how to destroy those who are powerful.
By the way, like I see Lazarus in the live chat saying, I guess I'll cancel my ticket. Hey, listen, I'm saying I was disappointed in it, but don't cancel your ticket because there's a lot of people who love this movie.
Yeah.
Just because I walked out a little disappointed with it at the first time ever for an Eggers film that I'm watching out disappointed. But just because I was disappointed in it doesn't mean you'll be disappointed in it. Remember, there's a lot of other people love this film. So don't cancel your ticket, please. I'm just saying for me, I was kind of let down by it a bit. Again, didn't hate it. It has a lot of good things going for it, but my expectation levels are so high. Maybe it worked against me a little bit.
Could be.
Anyway, guys, listen, let's get on to the real topics here today, shall we? And we're going to get started off here with this. One of the most pleasant surprise shows this year has been Skeleton Crew. Star Wars Skeleton Crew. I mean, I had hopes for it, being that they're saying it's like this Emblem Entertainment ode, love letter to the 80s movies, a Goonies and Star Wars kind of thing. You got John Watts running the show, who's the director of Spider-Man, Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. You got Jude Law in it. So I had high hopes, but I didn't know what my expectations were going to be. This show has been fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And over the Christmas break, had a chance to watch episode 5. I can't remember the name of the episode. Something like you don't know the first thing about pirates, or you don't really know pirates, or something like that.
I'll look it up.
I call it episode 5, Betrayal. First of all, I just love, again, they continue to do this world building.
You have a lot to learn about pirates.
You have a lot to learn about pirates. Is the name of the episode. They do all this great world building. Jude Law taking them to an adult sex club vacation resort. I guess that's the only way I know how to put it for this thing. I thought was pretty great. SM-33 continues to rival K2SO as my favorite droid ever in Star Wars. He's great. Nick Frost doing the voice of the droid is great. It gets a little dark.
Yeah.
There's murder in this episode. You don't see a lot of it, but there's straight up murder. So he says, SM-33, refill the chamber.
I
with
was
acid.
a little
I'm like,
surprised by that.
I'm like, oh, and then you hear the pirates on the other side going, ah!
Yeah.
Like, ooh, that was kind of dark.
It definitely, this was the most Goonies episode,
Yes.
especially going through the corridor. And then okay, I loved when they almost, the losing your head scene.
Oh, yes.
It was so like the booby trap stuff was all great.
Very Goonies-esque.
Yeah, very Goonies-esque.
It was great. And then the betrayal. First of all, they find the location of Ad-Adden,
Yeah.
which is great. All that kind of stuff. And then the inevitable betrayal. I remember we talked a couple shows ago. People, like I said, some people are starting to think that Jod is this really good guy. But I said, don't forget, the very first sequence of episode 1 was him literally taking just that transport ship captain and throwing him out of the airlock.
Mm-hmm.
This is not I'm not saying he's a Darth Vader level villain, but he's not a good guy. And then the betrayal happens, although he's not all that bad, right? Like, he could have just taken her at the end when he says, I challenge for captain, and just slit her throat.
Yeah, he could have killed all the kids.
He could have killed all, but all he says is just say you yield. Just like he doesn't. So he's not a good guy, but he's not all the way mustache twirling evil.
Like, the person they're running from would kill the kids.
Yes.
Like that Wolfman guy.
Oh, no hesitation, right? And then they continue to allude that he's got some kind of force sensitivity.
Right.
Yeah. This was the first time I'm like, okay, it's not some trick. That key thing was not like a weird trick or whatever. He's
where
definitely
he secretly set it all up.
Yeah, he's moving too many things.
Yeah. And then to end it with the lightsaber in his hand. So I don't know. I'm wondering, like, he was a former Jedi Padawan
Yeah.
who gave up on it and went into piracy. I mean, I don't know. I
Or
still don't know.
He treaded toward the dark side, but he just gave that up for pirating or something. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or like Michael in the live chat saying, he's Palpatine's clone's second cousin, third removed, son.
Yes, you
He
nailed
is
it.
a clone of a clone of a clone's
Clone.
clone. Somehow, John has returned. So I tell you what, this show has not, through 5 episodes, I kept waiting for the first 4 episodes for that inevitable episode that always comes in almost every Star Wars show other than Andor, where the show just drops and falls off a cliff. And it just doesn't.
I was expecting it this episode, and I got a little nervous with that pipe mud scene, and there's a musical cue that really annoyed me.
Oh,
it's like,
right.
do. I'm like, oh no, is this the episode it jumps the shark? But that was the only part of the episode that was like that. So
You know what part, like I audibly laughed out loud?
Uh-huh.
When the pirates show up on the planet and the 2 security ships show up, welcome to the planet, boom, it just blew them out of the sky.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It did definitely have like some real dark humor in it in this one.
Although the one kind of logic loophole I have is like they mentioned that there's like a space bankers thing there for increased security.
Right.
I think if you had like some of the wealthiest people in the galaxy, they would have enough security there that could probably fight off a couple of scrappy pirate ships.
Mhm.
But whatever, and it is what it is.
I think they were looking for spies. They weren't thinking like a fleet was coming in.
Yeah. So I mean, the show, it's great. I loved it, and that episode ended, and I'm just like, where are they going to go next? And I think Jonathan, you said before, you think the captain of the ship, and we finally got the name that, what was it called? The Onyx.
Onyx Cinder.
The Onyx. This is the Onyx Cinder. I think that captain is still around somewhere. Maybe really old. Maybe he's the administrator of Ad now. I don't know, but we'll see. We got 3 more episodes to go. I'm so thankful we still have 3 episodes to go. So I'm loving this show. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think of the latest episode of Star Wars Skeleton Crew? For me, this show just keeps getting better and better, which I haven't been able to say about many Star Wars shows. So this is pretty great. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? One of the great things over Christmas is sometimes, although not as many this year, you get some new trailers dropping. Around the Christmas season, stuff like that is not the biggest time of the year, but we'll get some trailers and whatever, some previews dropping. And I wasn't expecting a new teaser or a first teaser for Happy Gilmore. I wasn't expecting one. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Netflix dropped the first teaser for Happy Gilmore. And it is truly a teaser. It's like 30 seconds or something like that. It is the definition of a teaser. But man, they tapped all the right notes for just the right bit of, hey, he's back. And the nostalgia, like wearing the Boston Bruins jersey.
Right. We see him at the locker grabbing it.
Yeah. I mean, and then doing his patented 3-step-up swing and all that was all great. And just to see him back again. And listen, I got to admit, Happy Gilmore, the original, is not my favorite Adam Sandler film. I like it. Who doesn't like Happy Gilmore? I like it, but it's not like one of my absolute favorites of his, but still I remember quite fondly. But then they got to the shot of Shooter McGavin.
Yes.
Now keep this image up for a second. I'll tell you why. Now I knew Shooter was going to be in it because about 4 or 5 months ago that I heard an interview with, I forget the name of the actor who plays Shooter.
Christopher McDonald.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard an interview with him and he was mentioning, Adam got a hold of me about Happy Gilmore 2. So I knew he was going to be in it. But what I instantly recognized in this shot is the tombstone.
Right.
It says Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Weathers' character was Chubbs,
Right.
but his full name was Chubbs Peterson. So I don't know what's happening here.
And why he's in PJs?
Well,
visiting?
number one, why is he in PJs? But there's fresh flowers in front of, did he put those flowers down?
Maybe.
Like, is he a dick that still has a code? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does he like secretly pay respect to Chubbs and stuff like that? But just the fact that 2 of them come together there.
This is like the golfing Cobra Kai. the golfing version of Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Two, they're just
That's
older.
exactly
and
what it is, actually. Now, I see some people in the live chat saying it's a dream sequence. Maybe.
maybe it felt.
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. Although him being in the PJs might go towards that.
Yeah, it's a little
but we'll
weird.
see. But I do love the fact that there is clearly an homage to Carl Weathers,
Right.
even in the teaser. So I thought that was really nice. And you know what? I've never been a golf guy.
Mhm.
I literally live on a golf course, and I still never swung a club at it. But I'm not a golf guy. I've played golf a couple of times. I'm not a golf guy. But when Tiger Woods was hitting his apex of being like, the apex predator in golf,
Right.
the popularity of golf just shot up incredibly.
Oh yeah.
I don't hear now that Tiger is on the, pardon the pun, tail end of his career. I don't hear as much buzz about. I'm not saying golf is dying. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't hear people buzz or talk about golf as much. Like when Tiger Woods is in the hunt on day 4 of a tournament, it's all the sports show coverage. When he's not, oh, by the way, here's who won this tournament,
Right.
So I say all that to say, I wonder if Happy Gilmore 2 isn't coming at a great time for golf. If golf could really use something like Happy Gilmore to come back and have some kind of resurgence. And yeah, listen, somebody said this in the live chat, but it's true. Sir Malcolm said golf is dying. Pickleball. I literally hear more people talking about pickleball today than I hear talking about golf. So
It might be too soon for that.
might be what?
That's kidding. I don't know.
Pickleball's great.
Yeah, pickleball is great.
Pickleball's great. Anyway, so guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see this teaser for Happy Gilmore 2? I thought it was right on the money. Played the nostalgia just right, really felt the spirit of it, the homage to Carl Weathers at the end, having the last shot a face-off between Happy and Shooter McGavin. I mean, for just a short little 30-second thing, chef's kiss. I think they did a really good job with it. Doesn't mean the movie's going to be good. It is going straight to Netflix after all, but hey, it's a good start. It's a really good start. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Speaking of Netflix films, now look, there's a mathematical equation that is a truism in life. 99.95% of Netflix original movies suck ass. They're terrible. But every once in a while, one of the 50 movies they put out every month ends up actually being pretty good. And last night, Anne, me, and the family got around to sitting down and watching the newest Christmas movie,
Aw.
Carry On, with Taron Egerton, Jason Bateman, who is great in this, and I'm freezing on the name of the guy. He was in Sons of Anarchy, and he was just in Penguin, and I'm freezing on his name.
I'll have to look it up.
Anyway, he was just the therapist in
that dude.
in Penguin, yeah. And
Yeah,
I forget the actor, Theo Rossi.
Yeah.
That's his name. Theo Rossi was also really kind of good in it too. I had no idea Theo Rossi was in it. Anyway, and also the guy from Breaking Bad
Oh yeah.
was like Taron's boss. in it.
Uncle, not the uncle.
No, Hank. Hank was in it. Anyway, it's a fun movie. It's a fun. Carry On is one of those rare, really quite good Netflix films. I enjoyed it. Had a couple of significant plot holes. It's like, wait a minute, that makes absolutely no sense. But whatever, you get past those. I thought the dynamic, even just conversationally between Jason Bateman and Taron, was excellent. It was a fun movie. Had a really good time with it. And apparently a lot of people watched it because Carry On is now officially the biggest film of the year for Netflix.
Wow.
And I believe had the biggest first week in the last 3 years for any film on Netflix. This comes us from the folks over at Deadline who said this. Carry On, a film about traveling through the airport at Christmas. That's not really what the movie's about. Is on course to break into Netflix top 10 films of all time. The Thriller, which stars Taron Egerton, Jason Bateman, and Sophia Carson, bested its performance last week by adding another 55 million views on top of last week's 42 million number. It remains number one on Netflix's weekly film charts, having already become Netflix's biggest launch of a film this year. So you know what? Good on them. It's every once in a while we got to talk about a really good movie that doesn't do well. And, we also got to talk about some bad films that do exceedingly well. It's always nice when you see a film that you think, you know what, this is one of the good ones. And it ends up having some success, even if it's just a success on mean nothing streaming. But even then, it was good to see. And it probably means we're going to get a sequel.
Right.
Carry On 2.
My Wayward Son.
Business Class. Or Carry On 2, My Wayward Son. 2 Carry, 2 On, or something. Come on.
So
Carry On, Samsonite.
Yeah. So would you describe this as what's the movie? The Terminal with Guns?
This is a better version of The Terminal.
Okay.
I think even Ray will agree with
Maybe
that.
to one person.
But no, come on. You like the film,
They're
didn't
different movies. Are you
you?
really
Of
comparing
course they're
Terminal?
different movies.
Come
Come on.
This guy.
I'm not the one
Both of them
comparing
I like. Let's just say that.
But give your what did you think about the movie?
I
As you
thought
watched
it was
last night.
very there was a lot of tension there. I mean, there was moments where this guy had to make decisions like right away.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're put in a position where you have to give an answer right away without thinking of all the consequences, I hate making decisions like that. And so I could feel that when things are on the line that he cares about, it makes it a tense movie for real. The relationships that could break in a moment because of those decisions are crazy. Because you know what I mean? He had to do some things that he's not normally doing. I mean, was it his first day on the job? That's the only part that I missed, John. Do you remember if it was his first day?
It wasn't his first day working for the TSA. It was his first day getting his own line that he gets to run the line.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, because it was a little rowdy when the movie started, so I didn't get a lot of those details. But when I did jump in, I loved it. It was really good. I thought it did its job, or what it was supposed to do, which was make you feel tense. It was a thriller. It's a great Netflix
It's funny
movie.
in places. It's funny in places. The one thing I'll say though is this: I have a bit of a hard time with this. Not just Carry On, a lot of different movies and TV shows, because you guys know if you saw the trailer, it reveals in the trailer that Jason Bateman's telling him, "I got a guy coming with something in a suitcase. You're gonna let it go through and get on the plane, or else we're gonna kill your girlfriend." Right? That's in the trailer. They reveal all that in the trailer.
That's not nice.
I have a little bit of a hard time sympathizing sometimes with a lot of movies and TV shows because they use this trope all the time. It's like, oh, let this thing happen or we'll kill your friend. Let this thing happen or we'll kill you. Because there's the bottom line of the math is you're saying I would rather let these 300 people die to save the person I like and the person I love. And I'm not saying that's not a very human thing. I'm not saying I wouldn't do the same thing if I found myself in that same situation. I'm just saying sometimes as a viewer, I have a hard time sympathizing with the hero when they're willing to let hundreds or thousands or millions of innocent other people die just so their favorite person doesn't die. But one of the things that Carry On does really well is, and I won't go into the details about how, is there's more than just his girl. Oh, you're not going to do what we want you to do? We're going to kill your girlfriend. Still not going to do? Well, we're also going to do this if you don't like. So they kind of made Taron's character more and more sympathetic to me as the movie went on.
Right.
And so I don't know if it's a matter of the movie was really good or if it's a matter of it's a Christmas time movie. It's not a Christmas movie. It's a Christmas time movie happening and coming out around Christmas. I don't know what it is, but
Right.
I mean, it struck a chord with a lot of people wanted to check it out. The trailers were quite good. So the marketing was solid, something that Netflix rarely does well. And they're getting rewarded with a huge viewership.
With your problem being revealed, or your issue being revealed with this movie, they did try to get you on his side many times.
Yes.
To see that relationship that they had. It all reminds me, if anyone's played Life is Strange, there's a decision at the end that reminds me of what your dilemma with this movie was. If you guys have played it, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's crazy how that connects for me. I don't know.
Yeah. So again, hey, I call out Netflix on their crap all the time. So you got to give credit where it's due. This is one of their good ones. They marketed it well, something they rarely do, and they are getting to enjoy big success with it. So good on them. Guys, question is for you. Did you guys have a chance to see Carry On Netflix? If so, what did you think? And are you surprised that it's the biggest film that Netflix has had this year? And why do you think that is? Like, what was the magic formula here that made it the biggest film they've had on Netflix this year? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're going to kind of do a breaking news kind of thing here. We didn't have this one planned, guys. This one's not in the show notes. So these guys don't even know what we're going to talk about. As film fans, we all know there are good movies, and then there are bad movies. And then there are Sony Spider-Verse movies. Not counting the Venom films, not counting the Across the Spider. You know what? Sony does make some really good stuff. They do. But they've made some horrible things. Madam Web, Morbius, and now, worst of them all, Craven. And, you know, we talked the other day about how, you know what, it's just sometimes they just make these films because they need to have a film put out in order to maintain control of the Spider-Verse films. And they don't even need all of them to make money because when they hit so big that, believe it or not, this is a statistical fact, guys. You can deny it all you want, but it's true. When you count all the Sony Spider-Man movies that Sony has made since the first Venom, and that includes Madam Web, Morbius, Craven, the 3 Venom films, the Spider-Verse films, Sony's profitable. It's true. You can deny it. You can be like Luke hanging on with one hand going, no, that's impossible. You can do that if you want. Sony's movies overall are profitable. It's just crazy to think about. But we can talk about, you know, why maybe some of these ones like Morbius, Madam Web, and Craven, why are these ones so bad? You know, this, that, and the other thing. Well, Sony's CEO seems to have a different opinion as to why those movies failed.
You didn't think I'd have that picture ready, did you?
Oh, I didn't. Well done. See, Sony's CEO doesn't think they failed because they weren't well thought out. He doesn't think they failed because they made bad movies. He doesn't think they failed because as they continue to make bad movies, their reputation gets worse and people stop getting interested. Nope. When all else fails, blame the critics. Yup. Bet you guys didn't know this, but Madam Web, Morbius, and Craven were actually pretty good movies, and they would have done fine if it weren't for those meddling kids, the film critics. This is coming to us from Variety. Right, Sony Pictures CEO says Madam Web flopped because the press crucified it. Our Marvel movies are not terrible films. Yes, they fucking are. At least Morbius, Madam Web, and Craven.
But there was a Morbius re-release.
Yeah, I mean, like, how could that not be good? They were destroyed by critics. All right, let's read what this moron has to say. And listen, this is breaking my heart because you guys know I am a Sony defender. Hey, listen, I acknowledge when they drop the ball, but I'm also quick to point out when everybody wants to ignore when they actually carry the ball across the goal line. Everybody just wants to focus on the negative, and I acknowledge the negative, but I'm always got to be the one to step and say, guys, don't forget they also did this and this and this, and these things worked, and these things, like, so I, to some degree, am a Sony defender in many circumstances, certainly not all. But for this guy to come out and say this makes him look so out of touch and in such denial that it erodes my confidence that they can steer the ship in the right direction. Anyway, this is what the article in Variety. I'm reading this for the first time, guys, by the way. It says this, Sony Pictures CEO Tony Vinciquerra, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name, no disrespect intended, recently told the Los Angeles Times that Kraven the Hunter is probably the worst launch we had. No, I did the maths, and the maths say it was the worst launch you had. Not probably, it was. He says, probably the worst launch we had in the nearly 8 years he's been at the studio, adding, I still don't understand because the film is not a bad film. Let's pause for a moment. Tony, all film is subjective. There are people out there who like Kraven, and I have all the respect in the world for that because different things work for different people. That being said, that it is perfectly fine if you think it's not a bad film. I'm sure there are people watching this who thought Kraven wasn't a bad film. That's great because all films are subjective. Your opinion is no more and no less valid than mine. But if you talk to a lot of film fans, Tony, Kraven was a bad film. Not to everybody, and that's fair. But to a lot of us, as to some of us who were cheering, who spent the last year cheering for this film, believing in this film. I got on my show dozens of times saying, you know what, guys, I think we might be selling Kraven a little short. I spent a year in denial.
I was like, what? You didn't see that coming?
Yeah, well, you didn't see that coming. I like saying, you know what, guys? Hey, they've actually got a much better director than Morbius and Madam Web had. They have a much better writer than Morbius and Madam Web had. And you know, you got Aaron Taylor Johnson agreeing to it, and he's got his pick of roles right now. By the way, he's also in Nosferatu. He's got 28 Years Later coming out. He was awesome in Bullet Train. And it's like, you know what, guys? I think that we're selling Kraven a little short. I think Kraven could be good. I'm looking forward to Kraven. And then they lost the first 8 minutes. I'm like, you know what? Those were good. That's a good first 8 minutes. Yay, Kraven. And then you betrayed me. You betrayed me by offering up one of the worst pieces of cinematic shit I have ever seen. And I say this as your defender, Tony. So anyway, let's continue reading Tony's thesis. Now, Kraven opened in theaters December 13th to a paltry $11 million, the lowest debut yet for a Sony-released Marvel movie. The movie's current domestic box office total stands Kel Supri at just $18 million, while its global haul is $43 million, worldwide total. These are more or less catastrophic results for a superhero movie and cap off a lackluster year for Sony comic book films after Madam Web flopped with $100 million worldwide and Venom: The Last Dance became the franchise's lowest grossing entry. It does need to be said, though, that Venom: The Last Dance, while I didn't particularly like it, it is a profitable movie. It's closing in on $500 million.
It's awesome.
So, I mean, good for them. So I got to give credit where credit's due. But yeah, he said this. This is Tony. Let's just touch on Madam Web for a moment. Tony said, Madam Web underperformed in the theaters because the press just crucified it. It was not a bad film. Tony, stop living in denial. Somebody organize an intervention because yes, it fucking was a bad film. All right? Anyway, it was not a bad film and it did great on Netflix. Because that's now the measurement? People just clicking on something for free that costs them nothing?
To hate watch it?
That's the measurement? Anyway, for some reason, the press decided that they didn't want us making these films out of Kraven and Madam Web, and the critics just destroyed them. They also did it with Venom, but the audience loved Venom and made Venom a massive hit. Hey, listen, I'm a Venom fan. I'm a Venom fan. These are not terrible films. Venom wasn't terrible. They were just destroyed by the critics in the press for some reason.
But he says right there, they did it to Venom too, but the audience liked Venom, so it did well. So what's the missing ingredient, Tony?
So, hey, Tony, if the critics, if it's all the critics' fault, but the audience knew a good film when they saw it,
this is the worst gaslighting.
And still had it make money, then why didn't that happen with Madam Web?
He's so bad at gaslighting.
Why didn't that? That's what this is. This is corporate gaslighting. Why didn't it happen with Morbius? Morbius was so good. Why didn't the audience just see through the crucifixion the critics were putting on it like they did with Venom and went out and support it? The common denominator here is a suck dick movie. It's an awful, awful movie. And I'll tell you what, nothing frustrates me more. Nothing frustrates me more. And this goes all the way back to my movie blog days. When a filmmaker, a director, a producer, or a studio head blame their failures either on the audience or the critics. It's their fault. No, it fucking wasn't. It was your fault. You put out substandard product with substandard planning, not reading the room, not doing market demographic research, and just put out and it just made crap and then sat down and said, that's good enough. Ship it. It's not the audience's fault. It's not the critics' fault. And again, I want to remind everybody, I'm saying this as one of the guys who fucking defends Sony. I'm the guy who keeps pointing out when they do things right, when everybody else wants to ignore it. So Tony, as a guy who has theoretically been on your side, you're an idiot. This is asinine. Just step up to the plate and say, you know what? These weren't our best efforts. See, that's what you say, Jonathan. Mm-hmm. That's what a leader does. A leader will step up and say, you know what? We didn't have the best of years.
Yeah.
We kind of swung and missed on these ones. These weren't our best efforts. So we are committed to going back to the drawing board, and we're going to make sure our upcoming product, whether it's Beyond the Spider-Verse, whether it's Spider-Man Noir, or whether it's their co-production with Marvel with Spider-Man 4, and saying, we're going to go back, we didn't give our best efforts this year, so we're going to go back to the drawing board, and we're committed to making sure we learn from our mistakes, and we're going to put out really good product. Instead of doing that,
and it's strange.
He gets up and says, this is the critics' fault.
Yeah. And it was like, it's the critics' fault. But they didn't like Venom either, but at least the audience liked it. So what does that tell you about the audience for the other films? Dude, you can't just tell us like, if you had liked it, it would have done better. No crap. We didn't like it. It's not our fault we didn't like it. It's your guys' fault.
And listen, you know what? Had he come out and said what I just mentioned, hey, you know what? We didn't put out our best product this year. You know what that would have done to me? For me, as a fan of films and a fan of some of the product that they have put out, it would have made me feel better. Like, okay, hey, they recognize they dropped the ball. That gives me some faith as a fan that they're going to be able to go back to the drawing board. Like when a team loses a game, like let's say the Lakers lose a game and LeBron's being interviewed. He doesn't go up to the mic and say, well, the fans just didn't cheer loud enough, Jimmy.
Yeah, they weren't there for us.
The fans weren't there for us. If the fans had been there for us, maybe I could have sunk a few more threes. No, what happens is, whether it's a LeBron James or whether it's Steph Curry or whether it's any of these guys, you hear LeBron James, when they lose a game, he'll go up and the first thing he'll talk about is what they did wrong. We didn't do this. I didn't execute this. We didn't do that. And then you get the sense that this is somebody who knows what they're doing. They're going to make these adjustments. They're going to win. And, the Lakers did win on Christmas Day yesterday. Thrilling finish to a thrilling game. But instead, this asshat has just come out and not only humiliated himself with such an idiotic statement, it has made even somebody like me, who has been the one holding out some hope for Sony, it's totally eroded my faith in him, his company, and their products. Because now I'm looking at it and saying, wait a minute, time out.
Yeah.
You're looking at Morbius, Madam Web, and Craven, and your assessment, your leadership assessment of the situation is that the reason those films failed wasn't because you put out substandard product. No. You believe you put out good product. The problem was that the critics took it apart. As the leader, that is your assessment. If that is your assessment as the leader, why should I believe for one fucking second that you have any competence of steering this ship in the right direction if you don't even recognize where you went wrong. Because making a good movie ain't easy. We'll forgive. We as audiences will forgive a few bad movies because we know making good movies ain't good or isn't easy. But if you as the leader of the company, you're telling me that you are so clueless that you don't even recognize the wrong turns you made, you don't even recognize the missteps you made, then why the hell should I have any faith that you have the competence to lead this company to making better product? I have no more faith in you. Because you just showed you have no clue. You are so detached from reality. It's insane.
Yeah. To me, I can't make any accusations because I don't know, but it just kind of sounds like Tony may have had, I don't know, performance escalators written into his clause, and maybe they didn't hit those escalators, and he missed out on a big payday, and so now he's looking to take it out on me,
Looking for
El Guapo.
scapegoats?
And it's just like, is that what this is about? Are you bitter because you didn't get your escalator pay raise bonus? It's just like, because last week when we talked about this and they had that stupid rumor about Sony's all done with the Spider-Verse stuff, they're not doing anymore. When all they said, and they literally said this in the article, we're going to take a step back on these products. We're going to right the ship. We're going to pour more quality and time into these things and release better product. And then the very next week, maybe it's 2 weeks because it was a Christmas week, this guy comes out and it's almost like a reaction to that. Like, no, this is the critics' fault. This is the audience fault.
And you know what? Let's juxtapose this for a second against another leader, Big Papa Iger. Let's compare how a Bob Iger responds. When Star Wars or what Marvel or whatever has a disappointing stretch, Bob Iger comes out and says, "Hey, you know what? We did this wrong. We did this wrong. We prioritize quantity over quality in this thing." Back in the day before he stepped down and before Bob Chapek, talking about some of the Star Wars stuff, he goes, "You know what? I think maybe we need to take a step back. We need to evaluate what we're doing." Listen, you may not love every step that and everything that Star Wars has put out while under the Disney banner, sure. But at least when you then look at the leadership, they're like, yeah, they're acknowledging me. We dropped the ball here. You know what? Acolytes suck. So they came out quickly and said, we're not going to do a season 2. When Bob Iger came back and realized like all the kind of step backwards that the Marvel Cinematic Universe took, he said, look, we have prioritized quantity over quality. Again, it may not be all the right things, but it's at least a leader stepping up and saying, the problems we're having are a result of mistakes that we have made. As opposed to this guy saying, the causes, the root of the problems and the failures we have suffered ain't our fault. We put out good movies. We were attacked by those nasty critics. It's their fault that we failed. Ask me which one I'm going to be willing to put the next $100 of stock into. The leader that said, hey, these problems that we had, a result of our mistakes. Or the leader that goes, no, it's critics' mistakes. I'm going to put a lot more faith in the leader that says that. Whether you like Disney or not, whether you like Bob Iger or not, tell me you wouldn't rather take that over this. Anyway, this is just, this is always something that's infuriated me when a director, producer, or studio blames either the audience or the critics for their own mistakes. And thankfully, this guy's stepping down. He's going to be stepping down, I think, rather soon. I think he's on his way out. Thank God.
That adds another layer to my bitterness theory. Then, I think they had some strong discussions behind closed doors.
Yeah. Anyway, so guys, question is for you: what do you think of Tony's little comments? Maybe you agree with it. And listen, by the way, all film is subjective. If you like Madam Web and you like Morbius and you like Craven, there is nothing wrong with that. If you watch those and you enjoyed them, that's great. But I think even you would have to acknowledge there are enough people that hated those films that it isn't somebody else's fault they failed. It's Sony's fault. Anyway, whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? When you're talking about the cost of making TV shows, we are conditioned, rightfully so and understandably so, to believe that producing TV shows is a lot less expensive than producing movies. And there is truth to that. And so, understanding that that is our mindset as movie and TV fans, you can understand why a lot of us were shocked to find out that the Andor series, which is just getting ready to launch its second season, has cost the accountants at Disney $645 million.
When I saw this over the weekend, I thought it was clickbait.
$645 million to make the 2 seasons of Andor. As a matter of fact, this season of Andor, just season 2, cost more to make than The Rise of Skywalker. This comes to us from Deadline, who wrote the following. Production on the 2-season run of Disney/Lucasfilm's Andor TV series will end up costing far more than the big screen finale of the franchise's most recent trilogy. The production costs of season 2 alone, which a new report indicates, will be well over $290 million, is more than the production cost of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker in 2019, which Deadline pegged at $275 million. The total production tally for Andor season 2, or 2 seasons put together, is put at $645 million. All right. Let me start off saying some defensive, positive things. If you're going to spend money on something, make it the best things you do. Andor, at least season 1, is the singular best thing Disney Star Wars has ever produced. I'm a big fan of Rogue One. I like The Force Awakens. I love Star Wars Rebels. They have done, I'm loving Skeleton Crew, Mandalorian. Andor, though, is singularly the best thing Disney Star Wars has ever made. So at least the money they're spending is going into their highest quality product. I applaud that. I also want to remind everybody of something, though. We hear that, okay, this cost $290 million, season 2 of Andor, but Star Wars, the last movie we got, cost less, $275 million. You see, I've always mentioned that that's kind of a misleading stat, because while it's true that the second season of Andor is costing more than that Star Wars movie, if you actually break it down, it's significantly less expensive. For example, if you take the total cost, even $645 million, and you divide it by the runtime of Andor, which season 1 and season 2 roughly works out to about 20 hours. 20 hours of entertainment. By the time Andor season 2 is done, Andor season 1 and 2 put together will be about 20 hours. It actually breaks down to, for every 2-hour block, that's roughly the length of a movie, right? Every 2-hour block is roughly about $65 million. That's actually a more apples to apples comparison. A 2-hour run of entertainment of Andor cost about $65 million. A roughly 2-hour run of entertainment with Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker cost $275 million. So I'm just saying, if you're going to try to make it more of a comparable juxtaposition, 2-hour of screened entertainment, $65 million for Andor. Roughly 2-hour screen. It was a little bit longer than that, but still roughly for Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, 4 times that, $275 million. On average, a per hour of Andor is roughly about $62.5 million or $32.5 million per hour. The movies are costing about $105 to $110 to $130 million per hour. So I just want that to be kept into perspective. No, the TV show is not more expensive than the movie because you're getting a lot more TV show than you are getting of the movie. So in its defense, at least they're spending their money on their highest quality product. And actually, when you break it down into the per hour, it's not as ludicrous as it sounds. Still, with that all being conceded and said, it's a lot of money. That is a lot of money for a TV series.
Oh, yeah.
Now, unlike shows like The Acolyte, which cost well over $200 million, and some other Star Wars shows where you're looking at it and saying, I don't see the production value. I think we can all acknowledge, whether you liked Andor or not, the production value is clearly there on screen. Andor doesn't use the volume. Andor doesn't use the virtual stages. They literally go around the world and get live on location sets. They actually create beautiful landscape. The show just looks beautiful. It truly does look cinematic. So at least it's one of those shows that I can look at and go, okay, I can see the value. I can see where the money's being spent. But even then, $290 million for a single season of television, a 12 episode season of television. Not like the old cable days, the 22, 24 episode runs. A 12 episode for 290. That's a huge investment, man. Maybe not as much as Amazon paid for Lord of the Rings. But I mean, that's right up there on a per hour thing with Game of Thrones.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And, Andor it may be the best thing they've ever made, but it's not their highest viewed thing by a long shot. So you're talking about one of, not the, but it's up there in the conversation, the top 5, top 10 of the most expensive television productions ever. And I gotta believe, as beautiful as the show is and as good as the show is, I gotta believe they could have made it for less than that. But it's a lot of money. It's an awful lot of money. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, the 2 seasons of Andor are well north of $500 million, $645 million. This season coming up alone, season 2, $290 million, more than the entire budget of the last Star Wars movie, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. It's a lot. I mean, it's not as bad when you actually break down the numbers as it sounds, but it's still damn high. What do you guys think about that? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on here to the most important part of our show, shall we, on this Boxing Day, which is taking your live comments and questions. Jonathan, what do we got up first?
Okay, first up, we got Yasmar. He says, I know how you feel about faith-based movies, but I will say the best Christmas pageant ever is amazing. It touches on the true meaning of Christmas and the problems of modern Christianity without being too heavy-handed, funny and charming. 92, 97 on RT.
I will. Yeah. I mean, again, I really hate faith-based movies. Unless you think I hate faith-based movies because I hate faith. I developed my hatred of faith-based movies while in seminary, while in Bible college. That's where me and all my buddies in Bible college were like, man, our movies suck. But that being said, at CinemaCon last year, they actually gave us a pretty big presentation of this movie, and it didn't look terrible. I gotta say, it didn't look bad. Again, it's a subgenre of film that is not for me and that I traditionally don't enjoy. So I didn't watch it myself, and that's fine. But yeah, even I got to say that I thought the preview and the presentation they showed us for it didn't look all that bad, to be honest with you. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher says, I'm about to contradict myself here, but word of the Nolan movie also pairs nicely with the movie Ray Fiennes has coming out. It's already out. Called The Return.
The Return, that's also about Odysseus.
Yeah, coming back home. I know I said there's no adaptation of the Odyssey, but I meant in terms of title.
Yeah, has there been one? I mean, look, actually, somebody pointed this out to me, and correctly so, because I talked about a couple of the different interpretations and renditions and manifestations of the Odyssey. And I had a bunch of our viewers write in to actually point out others. Like, I missed a number of them, to be honest with you. But I think you're right. I think there's only been the one that has literally been called the Odyssey. I think. I could be wrong about that. All I know is, listen, There are several reasons I'm really excited about this. Number one, it's the new Christopher Nolan film. Number two is the cast, but I love, and number three, that it's the Odyssey. But I love that this kind of represents what could be the biggest step outside of his normal sandbox that Christopher Nolan has ever done. And that always excites me when I see a director who's kind of stayed in a certain lane, kind of stretched themselves. And I'm excited for that. I can't wait to see what Christopher Nolan, and it's only a year and a half away till this movie comes out. So I'm pumped for it. All right, what's next?
Satoshi's Vision says the rise of Timothy Chalamet has been a thing to behold. Even on social media, he has been going viral lately. Do you think he will become one of the youngest to receive a Best Actor award? What are his chances at the Oscars next year?
Well, having not seen Complete Unknown yet, which everybody who has seen it is saying he's going to get nominated for Best Actor at the Academy Awards this year. I can't really say what his chances are having not seen this particular film. But my goodness, what a year. Wonka, which was awesome. I loved Wonka. I think, and it made a ton. I think it made over $600 million, didn't it? Can you look that up for me, Ray? But if I remember correctly, I think that movie made over $600 million. He did Dune 2, which I think is like probably the best.
634.
How much?
634.
634 million for Wonka, which I never would have thought it would have made that much money. And then Dune 2, which I think is like the best film in the last 10 years. And by the way, an acting scene in the War Council that I think does not exceed, but I think rivals Daniel Day-Lewis's milkshake dialogue in There Will Be Blood is one of the best, like most chilling performances I'd ever seen. And now he's got what is probably going to be a Best Picture nominated and get him a Best Actor nomination in A Complete Unknown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this has been Timothy Chalamet's year. And I've been saying for years, especially after I saw Call Me By Your Name, I've been saying for years, he is not this yet, but he will be the next Daniel Day-Lewis. And every performance, every year, he keeps getting better and better and better. He can do musicals. He can do comedy. He's obviously great at drama. He can do sci-fi. He can do biopics. His range as a performer, I may not buy him as a professional wrestler. He's about $110 soaking wet. But that aside, I think he's purely one of the finest actors in the world today. And I think within the next 10 years, he will be the best actor on the planet.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what he does next and next and next.
Yeah. But as far as one of the youngest, I mean, he's 28. People forget he's not that young. He's 28. So.
Right. But look at where he is in his career as a 28-year-old.
No, I know.
Right? I mean, yeah, he's not, we all look at Timothy Chalamet as like he's this scrappy upcoming teenager. He's not. He's a full-grown ass man.
Yeah.
But he's at a place in his career where this guy is still just 28 years old. He's got like 40 years still to get better. I mean, I think the ceiling on this kid is limitless. I really do. I'm not saying he will be better than Daniel Day-Lewis, but I think he's the next one. I really do. All right, what's next?
Future Man says, I recently rewatched Man of Steel, and I know how we always give Henry Cavill all the glory, but can we show some appreciation for Michael Shannon's performance? That female villain also deserves some praise. By the way, have you ever seen the movie Take Shelter?
Doesn't ring a bell off the top of my head, but yeah, listen, when we just talk about Man of Steel in passing, always I talk about my boy Henry, right? My favorite Superman of all time, Henry Cavill. Love that guy. But if you've heard our actual more deeper explorations of Man of Steel, my God, Michael Shannon is so good. My people. But his performance, I will find him. He's first of all, Michael Shannon is just awesome. All right. Give him whatever. But I think Kevin Costner's Pa Kent is fabulous. I think, the Zod's right-hand girl, she's awesome. And for everyone you save, when she says that line, it sends chills down my spine. For everyone you save, we will kill 1 million more. Oh, like seriously, that line and her delivery of that line. is insane. Listen, Man of Steel is such an underappreciated movie. It's just glorious. I love that film. All right,
Yeah.
what's next?
All right. Take Shelter was that Jeff Nichols film. It was Michael Shannon and Jessica Chastain. He like saw visions of like a possible apocalyptic event.
I don't remember it.
Me either.
Yeah, it came out in 2011.
He's the same guy who directed that one with Jeff Bridges, right? As the singer.
He did Mud. He did Midnight Special, and I don't think
Midnight Special with Michael Shannon.
I don't think he did.
That one was really good, by the way. Anyway, all right. Let's move on. What's next?
Yeah, I can't think of the other film. I know the film you're talking about, but I can't remember the name. Crazy Heart.
Crazy
He didn't
Heart.
do Crazy
That's
Heart.
the one. He didn't do Crazy Heart.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Someone in the chat, look up Crazy Heart director. Future Man says, I recently rewatched... Oh, no. Sorry. Just did that one. Brian O'Connor, happy holidays, everyone. Would you rather see Shang-Chi 2 go into production tomorrow with a new director-writer, or are you willing to wait for Dustin Cretton to be finished with Spider-Man 4 for a potential 27-28 release?
You know what? No, I would love to see Dustin direct Shang-Chi 2, but I think with the template he has set for the character, if he's a producer on it to work with the director, I would rather see, I would be willing to trade a year or two sooner getting a Shang-Chi 2, even if that meant not having Dustin be the director of it. I mean, directors are like, I mean, he's not the only guy in the world who can direct it well. I mean, it'd be great if he did, but he's not the only guy. Oh, Scott Cooper, that's who directed Crazy Heart. That's right. But I think at this point, I'd be willing to take another director, as long as it's a good one, doing a Shang-Chi 2 now. All right, what's next?
Brian O'Connor, if we actually are getting a multiverse storyline in Shang-Chi 2, then to be honest, I won't care who directs. It will be dead on arrival for me. I'll have no interest. But I'm willing to wait for Dustin if we get another dramatic Shakespearean family epic like the first.
Listen, nobody dislikes multiverse stories more than me. But even then, if something is a multiverse story going, look, it'll kill a lot of my enthusiasm, but I'll definitely give it a chance. I don't like time travel movies, but there are some great time travel movies. I'm not a multiverse fan, but there are some great movies with multiverse. So yeah, it'll definitely, I would be disappointed to hear that Shang-Chi 2 would be another multiverse kind of involved movie. But at the same time, it would not be DOA for me. I would definitely still go and give it a shot, and hopefully it would turn out well. So yeah, well, we'll see how that one goes. All right, what's next?
Roman Bryan says, hey, John, I've been getting back into filmmaking as a hobby. I'm making a Dexter versus Michael Myers movie with friends. Also making a stop-motion Lego Indiana Jones movie. Just wanted to share. I think that's cool, Dexter going after like the pop culture psycho killers. That's a cool idea.
What you are doing is something I think all film... I've made videos about this. I think all film fans should make a movie. And remember, the great film instructor, Dove S.S. Simmons, always said, you want to make a movie? Get some friends, point a camera at them, hit record and say action, and then 2 hours later, stop the recording and say cut. You made a movie. I just think it's great for film fans to do it because it gets you more involved in the object of your fandom, and it gives you a better appreciation for the films that you watch. So I think that what you're doing there is great. Now, to hijack the conversation a little bit, have you guys seen that Man of Steel trailer? Not Man of Steel, the Superman trailer that guy recreated shot for shot, all in Lego?
No.
You haven't seen it yet?
I'll have to check it out.
Ray, you saw it though, right?
I saw it was on my feed, but I never clicked on it.
Ray.
Sorry,
Raymond.
I was watching
It's
reaction.
so good.
Oh, I got to check it out. I didn't even know that existed.
And he made it by himself in like 5 days. I got to see if I can find this thing.
Jeez. I mean, he did better than...
Blade.
He did better than Blade.
He did better than Ben Wyatt in his stop motion from Parks and Rec.
Requiem for a Tuesday? Yes, he did. But it is, if you guys haven't seen it, again, it is with the audio of the main trailer, but he just replaced all the visuals in Lego.
Oh, that's cool.
And he did it by himself.
Great.
And, oh yeah, somebody's, Joe Adonis saying Trevor? Is that the guy's name who did it? It's incredible. It's really, really amazing. And I still can't believe that it cost a studio 1,000 people working on it for millions and millions of dollar budget to make a Lego movie. And then this guy by himself recreates a Superman trailer in super high quality, super high quality. Guys, if you haven't seen it, go and find it. It's fantastic. And big kudos to Trevor, who made it. As they're saying his name is Trevor Carley. Huge shout out to Trevor Carley for what he did with it, because that job he did was awesome.
Now he's gonna have to do the whole movie when it comes out.
Now he needs the entire movie. All right, what's next?
DJ Dark says, Merry Christmas, John Campea and crew. Quick question in regards to Gun DCU and Batverse. Has any single studio successfully or even tried to make two connected universes at the same time? And is it worth the risk for DC to try to do that? If they did that, it would not be two. It would be one universe because you connected them. So you wouldn't, like, if you connected the Reeves verse with the DCU,
then it's just one universe.
Then it's one universe.
Yeah. But has a studio ever had two cinematic universes? That's a good question.
I mean, if you count Elseworlds, but I don't think that's what he means. I think he means like...
Well, yeah, but because Reeves's Batverse is now its own cinematic universe. Once Penguin came out, it's its own cinematic universe now, kind of in a way, right? I mean, I know NBC has its own cinematic universe because they got the Chicago cinematic universe.
Right.
That Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD. And they even tied that in with like Law and Order. Because they bring over, I think they've crossed with Law and Order characters every once in a while. So they've got that. Do they have another one? I'm not. You know, I'm sure if I thought about it a little bit more, maybe I'd come up with one. But that's a good question. That's a good question. All right, what's next?
All right, Reese, Lois, what's with the red trunks? Superman. In my world, red trunks represent great fertility, Lois. Blushes, jokes aside, happy holidays.
Yeah, listen, I will never get over the red trunks. I just don't like it. And that's fine. It's not going to take away one bit of my enjoyment of the movie. I just don't like the red trunks. That's all. All right, what's next?
Giovanni Ventura says, this is a far-fetched theory, but I have seen interviews with Will Reeve, and he has a small part in Superman. He's 6'4", and so is David Corenswet. Could he be playing Ultraman? I don't think he's an actor.
I think it's more. I'm expecting more of a cameo, probably at the Daily Planet. By the way, Will Reeves, he's Christopher Reeve's son,
and he is a reporter
who looks stupidly like his dad. Like it's disarming. Like he reminds me of his dad. So no, I don't believe it's like a significant role where it's going to take real acting and all. No, I think he's probably going to be like a guy at the Daily Planet or something. All right, oh, by the way, Warner Brothers they had the DCEU going with the Arrowverse going at the same time.
Oh yeah, there you go.
So there's one. All right. Anyway, what's next?
Michael Jones with the $20 tip.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that, man.
Day of the Superman trailer released. You were talking about if Superman trailer would play in front of Sonic. Saw Mufasa Sunday was okay. Sonic was good on Monday, and a complete unknown very good Tuesday. Were you like in my theaters or something? Because that was my exact schedule. Almost there. Trailer was in front of a complete unknown.
Okay, I have gone to see, since the Superman trailer dropped, in theaters I have seen Sonic, Mufasa, and Nosferatu since the Superman trailer dropped. I haven't seen the Superman trailer in front of a single one yet. Others have reported that they have had it play. I am dying to see the Superman trailer.
I've seen it twice now. Man. I saw it in front of Mufasa and in front of Sonic, but not in front of a complete unknown.
Is it even more glorious on a big screen?
I know this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it. But you notice so much more detail. And there's things that I've watched that so many times, and yet there are like scenes in that I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that because it's on a massive screen now. I'm blown out, you know? So I think it's great on a big screen.
Can't wait to see it on the big screen. I really can't.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Dildar, the Glorious, says, the online discourse over Nolan's next movie is so weird. I don't understand why some people are so angry over him doing Homer's Odyssey. Are they just looking for reasons to hate on him, or the story isn't popular enough or something? I really don't get it.
Look, I say this to my fellow film fans all the time. It is such a small group of people. Listen, if you want to look for people complaining about something, you're going to be able to find them for anything. Any movie that gets announced, you will find people who are complaining about it for whatever reason. It's not worth talking about. Now, granted, if you put out the Odyssey and it looked like, hey, like 1 out of every 3 film fans in the world hate that he's doing this. Okay, and that's worth talking about. But like it's such a small percentage. It's not worth us. It's not you, Dildar, your time worrying about it or us sitting here talking about it. Like, and I think that happens all the time. Like, did you see some people are hating on this? Guys, literally, you're going to find people hating about everything. If you don't care about how small that number is, you'll find people complaining about anything. Unless it's a significant number, and in this case it's not even worth talking about, really. All right, what's next?
Amin says, you guys have seen most of the award films this year. Tell me why it feels like everyone has forgotten about Dune. Sure, it's getting nominated, but there's like no buzz, and it doesn't look like it will win Best Picture. Hoping it will gain momentum. It was released in February.
I mean, unfortunately, that really is and has been traditionally a big part of it. It's so far removed from Oscar season that it's not the hotness anymore.
And it's awful because it was supposed to be like November, December of 2023, and they had to shift it because of the strikes. They had to push it into February of 24.
Yeah, there was that shift as well. But I mean, historically too with the Oscars, like 85 to 90% of all films that get nominated for Best Picture come out in award season.
Yeah.
I like remember the one time, what was that damn one with Ethan Hawke? About that was filmed over like 11 years.
Oh,
something boy or
About a boy.
it's not about a boy. It's
I liked that movie, but it was
yeah, it was a really good movie. Guys in the live chat, if you remember the name of it, please throw it in there.
It up.
Boyhood.
Boyhood. Yeah.
Amin was the first one to put that in. Like I remember everybody got surprised when Boyhood, which did get nominated for Best Picture, if I believe. Everybody was shocked. It's like, oh yeah, we forgot about that movie. It's part of the reality because remember, the Oscars are not voted on by machines. They're voted on by people. And things get out of mind, and you're right, it doesn't get the buzz. And you know, we kind of knew that was going to be the case when it came out. Because remember, it was originally supposed to come out in Oscar season of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
But when they could see that they weren't going to be able to have all their actors and cast go out to promote the film because of the strikes, they decided to move it out of Oscar season in 2023 and move it into early 2024.
Which saved it from the Oppenheimer fight.
Yes.
You know, but then it's the uphill battle of, well, recency bias. So,
but yeah, it's not often. Like I said, 80 to 90% of films that get nominated, in some years, it's 100% of the films that get nominated are films that come out in that Oscar season window. And otherwise it becomes out of sight, out of mind. All right, what's next?
Also, if Denis doesn't get a Best Director nomination, do we riot? Was watching a vid where someone said Dune 2 is being treated like Two Towers at these award shows. Less buzz. Maybe Dune Messiah can be the Return of the King and sweep everything. I think this is its best bet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the best bet. Again, it's an out of sight, out of mind thing. I think if Dune 2 had come out in December or November, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Denis Villeneuve gets nominated for Best Director. And maybe wins. But remember, unlike Best Picture, there's only 5 nomination spots for Best Director. And with the movie being like 9 months ago, I don't know if it does. I mean, like, you get something every once in a while, you get something like Everything Everywhere All at Once that also did not come out in awards season.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it won Best Picture. The Daniels won Best Director, but that's a rarity. That is a very small rarity that something like that. It's possible, but it's so rare. All right, what's next?
Send Me Your Blade script says, saw Nosferatu yesterday. Absolutely spectacular. I sure hope Robert Eggers gets an Oscar for his mantle someday. Such a visionary director. Not to mention the acting performances were perfection. Ricky Tikki Tacky needed this win to hide Craven. Wait, he's in it?
Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson's in it.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I was mentioning that earlier in the show.
Yeah, I was just thinking Holt when you were saying that.
Yeah,
so.
well, yeah, Nicholas Hoult, Aaron Taylor Johnson, they have a whole bunch of scenes together. It's really cool. Seeing Lex Luthor and Craven having sharing screen time. I do not share your enthusiasm, but you are in the majority. Let me be very clear. The majority of people really, really like this film, and that's great. And I would say at the end of the day, I like Nosferatu. But being as big of a fan as I am of this director, my expectations were much higher, and I don't think, what's her, Lily Rose
Yeah, Depp.
Depp? I don't think she was cast right in this movie. And I've seen her, like, I hated Idol, but you could see she's got a lot of potential as an actress. I'm not downing on her as an actress overall at all, because even in something as crappy as The Idol, you could see she's got it.
Yeah.
Right? It's raw, it needs to be developed, but she's got it. She could be really, really good. I don't think she worked in this movie. And there were just too many scenes in it that I just thought were hokey and ineffective and some big logic holes. And I would say it's my least favorite movie of his that he's made so far. And again, you guys have heard me for months just raving about how much I'm looking forward to this because of him. But again, a ton of other people are really enjoying it, and that's awesome. I wish I could say I liked it more. All right, what's next?
Dan V says, I don't find What If to be a very good show, and you might not be watching this season, but Feige said 30 ideas were pitched and the 10 best were chosen for season 1, which still baffles me. Like Party Thor and now the Howard the Duck episode are your best ideas. Am I supposed to believe no one pitched What If the Other Half was snapped? It was a layup and most obvious idea possible. Now, that couldn't be done in a single 25-minute episode with the ramifications, but what if ultimately is just a waste of potential?
I think I haven't watched What If season 3.
It's just one of those things I put on and just watch in the background.
Yeah,
It's not.
I could see, like, if Anne's out with like Kaori or Cat or something one night, and I got a home, which is me and the dogs, maybe I'll pop it on. But even then, right now, I'm still trying to get caught up on Landman. I think I'm one episode behind now. I've still got to get started on Lioness. I still haven't even started Lioness, and I got to get going on that. I just got too much other stuff to watch. Again, season 1 was hit and miss. It had some really good episodes, season 1. Some of them not so good. Season 2, I just felt the utter pointlessness of it. Like I could just, even though some of it was pretty good, I just felt like every minute I watched, I just felt like this whole thing is just pointless. And so I haven't even bothered watching season 3 to be, and I'm saying this as a Marvel fan.
Yeah.
But hey, if you're watching and enjoying it, awesome. It's just, I tried it. I tapped out of it. It's just not for me, and that's fine. I'm glad it works for some other people though. All right, what's next?
Daisy May says, hey guys, I've been loving Skeleton Crew. The latest episode was amazing. I showed it to my cousin on Christmas and she is in love with it. She's the same age as the kids on the show.
Oh, nice.
And it's her first time watching anything Star Wars.
You
Those
know
kids
what
are actually older than I thought. They're actually like in their early teens. 2 of them.
I might, give me a second here. I'm not sure that this is the case, but I might have some video of, no, I don't. Okay, never mind. Guys, I don't have an explanation for this, but our dog Dune, which here's a nice little picture of Dune. Our dog Dune, for whatever reason, when you put on dog, like every once in a while, we'll just go to, if we're stepping out, we'll go onto YouTube and put on these 8-hour dog videos that are just videos of dogs. And Dune likes just watches like intently. For whatever reason, we have no explanation. Dune loves Skeleton Crew. When Skeleton Crew is on, Dune will not take her eyes off the television. Just won't. Just like watches intently. I don't know if it's Neil. I don't know if it's the lasers. I don't know what it is. But Dune will not take her eyes off the TV screen when Skeleton Crew's on. I have no idea why. All right. What's next?
Reggie Phoenix says the Superman teaser has completely taken over my brain. My theory is that all of the creatures we see were kept in the fortress, or were being kept in the fortress. Something happens that releases them, and now Superman has to answer for having these aliens on Earth.
No. No, I don't think that's the direction James Gunn is going in. That, number one, that kind of insinuates that Superman's been at this a long time. that he's actually got a prison population in the Fortress of Solitude. Now, while this movie definitely is not the origins of Superman, I think James Gunn pointed out that Superman's been at it for a couple of years. So I just don't, and I just, when I watch the trailer myself, I don't really pick up on any of that. Now, that doesn't mean you're wrong. You could be 100% right. I'm just saying, for me, it doesn't line up with what I'm seeing so far. But we're only about 7 months away from finding out the answers to that. All right, what's next?
Eddie Burton says Sony CEO said their villain-verse films aren't terrible movies. Critics just destroyed them in the press for some reason. Yeah, because they were terrible movies. It's infuriating to see the head of the studio play the blame game and defend these movies. What are your thoughts on that, John?
Look, let me say this too. I have no qualms the head of a studio defending their movies and defending their filmmakers and defending their staff. I take no issue with that. If you want to defend your filmmakers and you want to defend your product, I don't really have a problem with that. But there's a difference between wanting to have your staff's back and then scapegoating somebody else instead of yourself. And that's, I won't revisit the entire rant I did, but that is Bush League, and it's pathetic. It's pathetic. You know, just to go, I'm not the model citizen of this at all, but if you go back to like AMC or Collider days, when we would put out a show that wasn't working, what did I get on and say? Like, there's a good example of like, we did what was the name of our horror show again?
Oh,
that John Schnepp was on?
Nightmares. Yeah,
Nightmares,
AMC
right?
Nightmares, yeah.
When we did Nightmares, and I remember when we had to announce that we were canceling Nightmares, it was a good show. But, it just wasn't getting the view numbers to justify the money and resources it was taking us to produce it. And when we announced that we had to pull the plug on the show, I didn't say, that John Schnepp, he just didn't do a good enough. I didn't say, oh, horror. No, I said, listen, I decided we were going to make this show and we haven't been able to get the numbers to it. And, it costs us more to make it than anything it returns for us. And we got to pull the plug on it.
Yeah.
We didn't blame some third party. You didn't see myself or John Schnepp or anybody else come out and blame other. We just said, you know what? We took a swing at this. We're proud of the show. We thought it was a good show. But at the end of the day, we just weren't able to make it get the numbers to justify all the resources we put into it.
Yeah.
It was that simple. And we didn't blame any third party for it. So anyway, that was just us. All right, what's next?
Stubble McShay says $645 million for Andor was the number spent up until the end of 23. They were finished filming by then, so they were still in production and far from finished with post-production when they had spent that money. It'll probably land at 800 for seasons 1 and 2.
I don't think so.
I think that was total.
I think people are misconstruing when money was spent. I've talked to a couple of people, but also I think that's why Deadline in their reporting said the total cost of this thing. I think we've seen some other people misrepresent numbers about when they were spent, and it's actually more, but I don't actually think it was. Look, at the end of the day, it was a very expensive show to make. Like, whether you want to tack on a few million here or there, but from what I understand, 645 is the total. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, I'm so excited for the new Wallace and Gromit next week.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that there was one coming.
Yeah. I remember they showed us a preview for it at CinemaCon. I can't remember what the name of it is now, but I've always, listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm the world's biggest Wallace and Gromit fan, but I've always enjoyed them. They're cute. I've always liked them, even though they've never been my favorite thing so that I rush out to see it, but they've always been rather cute, and I'll look forward to watching the next one for sure.
Vengeance Most Foul.
That's it. Which is a great title. Such a good title. All right, what's next?
This one's kind of funny because I think you mistook what you're wearing. It's Forbidden says it's not 420 day, John, but still dig the shirt. Anyway, have a happy new year.
Oh my God,
it's a maple leaf. It's not a
I didn't
weed.
realize.
It's not weed. It's a maple
That's
leaf.
what it looked
You
like.
can't read it because it's
Darn it.
embroidered. It's
Yeah.
embroidered in it in the same color, so you can't read it.
Yeah.
But it's Toronto
That's
Maple
funny.
Leafs. Yeah,
I
it looks like
didn't. I
with
didn't.
it being a green shirt, and it looks like this is a Toronto Maple Leaf shirt
Yeah.
that I got for Christmas from my brother-in-law.
Yep. And
Ray-
I
Ray
had no
got me this
idea.
shirt.
That wasn't a setup. I had no
Hey,
idea.
man.
I just thought about it right now, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Yeah, okay. Well,
All
you
right.
know what? Okay.
Shirt, I love this shirt. This is one of my favorite presents I got this year. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, "How was your Christmas? Do you have nice Did you have a nice Christmas meal? It's Boxing Day in the UK and in Canada, as you know. USA should have a Boxing Day, so you have an extra holiday too. Thank you for this year. Very much enjoyed your content, and I think you are all brilliant."
Oh, thank you so much for that. Yeah, listen, it's always been one of the biggest things. I think it's changed a bit over the years, but as a Canadian, like US I'm sorry guys, Black Friday's stupid. Black Friday is
It
stupid.
doesn't exist to me.
I mean, I still love the deals I get and everything, but see, Canada had Boxing Day, which made way more sense because Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, right? Christmas is now done. Everybody spent their money. So on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, that's when all the shops and stores and outlets in Canada massively drop their prices,
They do it anyway here.
right? Because it's like, hey, now we got all this inventory, we got to drop all the prices, right? And that was the thing that people literally would go and line up at 5 a.m. on the day after Christmas, and it's a holiday in Canada, and you get all the best deals. It just made more sense that
It's-
that's the day you get all the savings.
but do
Well,
people-
the point of it is though, is that it's because after Thanksgiving here is where the run up to here's your
Christmas
here's your
begins.
chance now.
Yep.
You got to start getting your stuff.
I get it. But Boxing Day just always made more sense.
Yeah, it's
to
like
me.
it's like Halloween candy the day after Halloween, right? It all drops like 75%.
So yeah, I loved Boxing Day. Like my dad would take me and I'd go get in line with him at Canadian Tire or something like that.
and
where
that
he would-
never stopped Canadians from actually waiting until Boxing Day to get Christmas presents.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying because that was
I
what
mean,
I would
not-
do. I'd be like, you guys are
not
getting your
normally,
presents.
not
but a
normally.
day later.
But if I knew there was some family or some friends I wasn't going to see until after
And
Christmas,
you had to ship it or
oh
whatever.
yeah, I would save my shopping till Boxing Day.
Yeah.
If I knew I already wasn't going to see them anyway till like the week later, yeah, I would take advantage of that for sure. All right, what's next?
Maximilian says Tony Vinciquerra is stepping down as CEO in Jan 2025 and
Yeah.
being replaced by Ravi Ahuja.
Yeah, I mentioned that he was. I couldn't remember that it was Jan, but I remember it was really soon. I mentioned that earlier in the show that at least he's stepping down soon. But my God,
Oh, he's going
when
scorched
the
earth.
CEO is that disconnected,
Yeah. Well, I
is
wonder why
that
he's stepping down.
oblivious, it doesn't give me much faith in the rest of the leadership. And great, you're having one other guy come in, but I don't have any reason to believe he's going to have any different of a philosophy. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, despite having animosity toward Happy Gilmore for losing to him, I actually don't think Shooter McGavin will be the antagonist again for the sequel.
I have a feeling he won't be either. I don't think he will be. Again, I don't think he's not going to be a dick, but I don't think he's going to be the main.
Oh no.
You know,
do you think it's gonna be
What if it's
Rocky 2?
well, I was thinking
Rocky 2
well,
loses Chubbs. Now he needs a new person to get him back in the game.
Oh, and it's going to be
McGavin.
Shooter. Isn't
Yeah,
that Rocky? That's Rocky 3.
Rocky
Oh
3.
yeah, Rocky
Yeah.
3.
I was wondering why. you'd say
Sorry. Rocky 3.
Yeah.
Could they
Where-
do that?
where maybe Shooter coaches him.
Well, what if it's a doubles?
I'd be down for that.
What if it's a doubles like Caddyshack? And
That'd
they
be
have to
great,
team
too.
up
That's
to
actually
go
a
up
great
against
idea.
two other people.
But
I
Shooter.
still kind of like the Shooter coming in and coaching Happy. Like, okay, you take all the best things about you, Happy, but now let's add the actual
Yeah.
technical finesse to it too, or something.
You know the problem with you, Happy, is you're always happy. we need to put some
If
meanness
they
there.
have
Dave.
a shot where Happy and Shooter are racing each other down a beach,
Oh yes, no putting.
they run out of breath.
die laughing.
They run out of breath. Like, oh.
That would be amazing.
Come on, please do it now, please.
All right, what's next?
Pacific McRim has a $20 tip.
Oh boy.
Thank you, Pacific Rim.
Hello,
McRim.
Yeah.
Grim.
Hello, Camping Crew, tossing in a little more for the Christmas spirit.
Thank you,
definitely,
man.
Thank you.
definitely helped. I had a great day betting on NFL, but saw the talk of Michael Shannon earlier, reminded me of I saw 8 Mile for the first time the other day, and him being there shocked me. Forgot he was in 8 Mile.
was he in
You
it?
know, what was the one for me? Like when I watched 8 Mile again, because I didn't watch 8 Mile again for
Yeah.
several years. Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
That's what's like, oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God, I forgot that was
Papa
Anthony
Doc.
Mackie in there.
Papa Doc or something.
I
Well,
think I
who was
totally
Michael
forgot.
Shannon? Was he the dad?
The
abusive dad?
it's been a couple years.
That's
I-
the only part I could see him playing.
I just remember like being truly surprised of just how good the movie is. It's a really good movie.
Oh yeah.
Now, of course, like Eminem was playing Eminem, so it is what it is. But I mean, overall, they put together. By the way, Academy Award winning film, 8 Mile.
What? Wait, what did it win for?
I won for best original song.
Best song. It was
Nice.
Yep.
six something Mafia.
Just no, that was for.
Oh no, that
Six
was for yeah.
the one with the
Terrence
guy.
Howard.
Yes,
the Terrence
that was
Howard
for
movie.
the Terrence Howard film.
Yeah.
It's hot out there for
But Eminem's
Kim. That was
song
the one. Yes,
is the one that
that
won.
was that. That was the year. What was the name of the group again? The 6-1.
I
Six.
thought it was 3-6 Mafia.
The
3-6 Mafia,
whatever
yeah,
the
something like
number
that.
is, whatever the number is. But I think Jon Stewart was hosting.
Hustle and Flow.
That was the name of the film, right?
Yeah.
I think Jon Stewart was the host of the Oscars that year, and right after, and this was before Martin Scorsese won his Academy Award for what's the remake of Infernal Affairs?
Oh yeah.
The Departed. It was before that. So the 6-9 Mafia or the 3-6
3-6
Mafia.
Yeah.
The 3-6 Mafia wins the Academy Award for Best Song for Hustle and Flow, right?
Yeah.
The 6-9. And Jon Stewart comes out and goes, just for everybody at home keeping score, 3-6 Mafia, 1 Oscar. Martin Scorsese, 0 Oscar. It was one of the funniest moments of the Oscars ever.
I gotta watch it.
And then shortly after that, Martin Scorsese finally won his first Oscar. What
oh,
the
that
great
was his
nine?
first.
Yep, that was his first one,
Yeah.
which is
He's
still
an
one of the good
upstart.
moments.
Yeah,
All right, what's next?
He's still getting his sea legs.
the rookie of the year.
And this is the part 2 to Pacific McRim. Personally, nothing I enjoy more in movies than surprise random actors I recognize in a movie I've never seen. No question today, but thanks for a great year as always. And you can't become king because some watery tart throws a sword at you. That's
Monty Python.
Monty Python.
You can't wield supreme executive power. Well, you know, one of the other great ones. It was many years later, but I went back and watched the James McAvoy Wanted. That was the name of it.
Oh yeah,
With the curving the bullets.
yeah.
I like that movie. I like
did
Wanted.
too.
Anyway, but I went back to watch Wanted and it's like, oh my God, that's Chris Pratt.
Oh yeah,
And
he
I forgot
was.
Chris Pratt was the dick at his office who was sleeping with his girlfriend. It's like, I mean, that was before Parks and Rec. That was before anybody knew him at all. It's like,
Yeah.
I totally forgot that was Chris Pratt in that.
Yeah.
That was another really good
He did
one.
great, dicking his girlfriend.
He did great at it. All right, what's next?
iCritic says it's a 2-parter. I went to see Sonic 3 at AMC Dolby. Before the movie began, there was 25 minutes of previews, not counting Nicole Kidman. The first showing of the movie on that screen was 10:40 with 5 showings. I calculate that if AMC shaved 15 minutes previews off each showtime, they likely could have squeezed in a 6th showing of the movie that day. The movie is only 95 minutes. Why do you think it's good business to have so many previews when it cuts into their business like this? Although that would have been like a late showing of it.
Yeah, so I don't really think. Look, I won't go off on my whole thing again. Everybody knows how I feel about this. One of the biggest problems of movie going today is the damn previews. Ann and I went to go see a 9:30 of Nosferatu, and by the time the first frame of the movie actually came on, it was 10:01
Wow.
p.m. And it's like, you told me the movie started at 9:30. I paid you money to be here. It's not like a free YouTube show where, yeah, hey, you're getting a YouTube show for free. You understand there's going to be ads. No. We actually paid to be in the movie theater. It says 9:30. You just stole 30 minutes from us. 30 fucking minutes. It's one of the big problems of movie going, and they absolutely have to address it. All right, what's next?
Okay, so members, Matt says hello, says, hey, John, have you heard much about show Zero Day, which airs in February? Don't know much about the plot other than government conspiracy, but the cast is stacked. Robert De Niro, Jesse Plemons, Angela Bassett, wow, Dan Stevens, and Clark Gregg. Zero Day.
Zero Day.
I've never even heard of it. What?
No.
I've seen it, and I think we saw it a little bit at CinemaCon.
Not
But it
if
was
it's a
just an
TV show.
announcement. It was
Not
an,
if it's a TV show. It
it
wouldn't
was
have
a
been
TV
at CinemaCon.
Is it Zero Day?
Yeah, I'm
And
just
it's
trying
a
to see.
series? Is that what he said? Did he say?
Oh, it's Netflix. It's Netflix.
Oh, it's a Netflix
sure?
movie.
It's
It
the
also wouldn't have
Netflix
been at CinemaCon then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
No. Again, Netflix horrible at promoting their own stuff. What a cast. I've not heard of it.
De Niro's in it too.
Crazy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I love Clark Gregg. I love that dude. So, but no, I haven't heard of it yet.
And Lizzie
I'll keep my
Kaplan.
eyes open. Thanks for putting it on my radar, though.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Donovan Clifton says, a few days ago, someone mentioned wanting physical tickets to a digital ticket
Yeah,
from a
that's
digital
right.
ticket. As an AMC manager, I can say all employees has to do is scan the QR at the box office guest service, and we can print out a physical ticket. We can't do it after a moviegoer has checked in, however. So yeah, you have to go to guest services first.
Okay,
that's good.
Yeah, and I said during the show, I said you can still go to the box office and buy your ticket there and have it. I guess you can go there and scan for a physical ticket too. Again, I think it would make it easier on the lives of the people at the movie theater, and probably easier for yourself as well, to just do a quick screenshot of your phone and print it out, and there you've got it. It's there. Actually, one of the things I love about my AMC A-List app is the fact that I can just go in and look at it's just digitally right there. I can see all my tickets. But yes, if you want to have that really cool hobby of collecting all your tickets, again, you can, like our member is saying, you can go to the box office before you check in and get it. I would just say screenshot it and print it out when you get home. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Yanni Moore says, hey, John and crew, I've read The Independent that Nolan named, in The Independent, Nolan named Gladiator 2 his favorite best movie of 2024. Although initially I was a bit perplexed by his decision. All films are subjective. Now reading that his next project is The Odyssey, perhaps it makes a bit more sense, as it could have gained him some inspiration for an epic period film.
Yeah, definitely could. Again, all film is subjective. I personally, while I enjoyed Gladiator 2, I liked Gladiator 2, but it's not in my top 10 films of the year. Maybe not even in my top 15. Definitely one of the films I enjoyed. I liked it, but I wouldn't have that. But again, it hits us all in different ways. But you're right. Maybe having the Odyssey in his head, then seeing that movie, maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe yes, maybe no. But it's a good thought. All right, what's next?
Kevin Cow says, let me see. Watch the latest episode of Skeleton Crew. Love the finding of the access port part in the episode. Personal guess, I think the supervisor might be the old captain.
Yeah, I said the same theory a little bit earlier. I think it'll be the old captain. I do. I mean, listen, they're clearly keeping it mysterious. So if it's not the old captain, I don't even have a remote theory as who else it could be. Lando?
Just throw him in there.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
After I was the administrator of this, gas processing station, I decided to go and become the administrator of this hidden world from the Republic.
You know what your problem is, Lando? Sorry, that's my shoot him again.
All right, what's next?
Wrong one. Mighty Tank says, happy holidays, crew. I've been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine lately and really like it. Highly recommend if anyone hasn't checked it out yet.
I know so many people that
It's on-
love that
It's
show.
on in my queue, but I haven't started
You're
it.
talking about Brooklyn Nine?
Yeah.
My wife Ann watched a few episodes of it and
It's
loved
funny.
it. And I love what's the Lonely Island guy,
Andy-
Samberg.
Sam.
Andy
Yeah.
Samberg. I love Andy Samberg,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know why. For me, it just never clicked.
There,
But my wife loved it. All my friends love it.
there's they do play what do you call that when they play a bunch of episodes, like just the
Binging?
brain fart,
Like a
on-
marathon?
on
Like a
cable.
marathon?
A marathon.
Oh, marathons.
There's like a channel that plays a lot of them, and sometimes if there's nothing to watch, I'll have it in the background. It's a funny show.
All right, let's take two more, then we'll call it a day.
All right. Camelo says, hey, John, fellow Canadian here. What's the best television show you watched this year and the worst? Boy, I mean, you love the Penguin, but you really love Shogun.
It's Shogun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it
I mean,
good?
there was such great television this year. Shogun, Penguin. But listen, I also got to say this. I finally watched the season finale of Shrinking. Guys, Shrinking is simply... I think I'm actually going to finally make a video because I only ever bring up Shrinking in passing. I never have made a video about it. We just watched the season 2 finale of Shrinking. It is absolutely one of the most special TV shows out there. It's remarkable. Not only is it absolutely hilarious, but it's moving and it's emotional and it's touching and it's charming. And again, Harrison Ford hasn't been this good in well over a decade. Maybe 2 decades. Harrison Ford has not been this good in that long. It's a remarkable show. It's on Apple TV. You have to watch it. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But yes, I would say the best Shogun. Worst, The Acolyte.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'd probably say The Acolyte is probably the worst show I've seen this year.
Yeah.
All right. One more. What's next?
Last one. Mr. Borquez says, "Hi crew, happy holidays. Did you watch the halftime show on the Ravens-Texans game? Better than the last Super Bowl's halftime shows. Beyonce was spectacular. Netflix really did a good job investing on it. What do you think?"
I did not. We were so busy getting everything ready in the house for family coming over and meal prep and
Did they do a special halftime show?
Beyonce halftime show. Netflix went all out to do a Beyonce. I heard that the halftime show was really good. I mean, I no reason not to. Her halftime show at the Super Bowl was spectacular. So I have no reason to believe it wasn't great. But no, I haven't watched yet, but I heard it was really, really quite good.
There you go.
So a sequel to the halftime show.
All right. And anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to come on back and join us tomorrow for the next episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Chris Carr will be joining us as she always does on Fridays. So until then, I want to thank the people in the room with me, Ray Ora,
See you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.